Hello everyone, my name is Eric. With me today is El Pulpo by Artesano del Tabaco. We're talking about how do you get on the best lists of the year when it comes to cigars. You are watching Oakland Tobacconist. If you're interested in El Pulpo or several other cigars that the company does, check us out, you know where to find us. Do not forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make certain you hit the bell. It really helps us to make certain you are notified every time we create new content. So I'm recently hanging out with my brother and we're hanging out talking about cigars, talking about the PCA trade show we came back from, and like a lot of different new companies and old companies like all together. And we're sitting down and we're talking and kind of talking cigars in general. And then we had sampled a cigar that was less than up to par, I'm going to say. Now, of course, brands will remain nameless. This is not at all a talk or a dig about how awful this company had presented a cigar. However, it was a newer-ish company, and I was handed these cigars, and it was kind of like the salesman pitch of like, hey, check out these cigars. They're the best. They're the best that you'll ever try, and they're the best you'll ever put in your humidor. Tell me when you're ready. And of course, looking at them, I was like, sure, we'll give them a chance. Lit them up, and unfortunately, it fell flat. Now, with that stated, the reason I bring this up is my brother could not believe that the fact that when we're smoking these cigars, he's like, there's a pungent flavor here somewhere. There's something really interesting. And I said, what do you think it is? And he's like, almost like urine, like cat urine. That is ammonia. Ammonia for cigars and tobacco that have not been laid down long enough, that have not had time to rest, and have not had time to marry. It's very young tobacco, and you get that sort of like cat pee type flavor. Now, unfortunately, much to his dismay, he could not believe that this was going on. Now, some people may or may not know, back in the 90s, after the cigar boom happened, you had a lot of micro companies sort of jumping up to try to make it rich at making cigars. And things like ammonia, things like blends like that, unfortunately was a good amount. I don't know if it necessarily would be the norm, but there were a lot of blends out there that just were not up to par. Then you had certain companies that put quality first, aged tobacco first, and kind of rose from the ashes when the dust settled after the boom. Now, while we experienced a small boom during COVID, you see sort of the trends upward, there hasn't been that much of a descent since COVID. While it might have tapered off, it didn't like nosedive like it did in the 90s. So still, people are clamoring for great cigars, and that's why you see a lot of cigars not always stocked, because supply and demand is finally catching up to itself, but it's still around there. I bring all this up because it is so vastly important, especially in this day and age when you've had quality cigars, when you've had ones that use really good aged tobaccos. It's very, very important to make certain when you're creating blends, you're trying cigars, that is what the consumer demands and requires. Now, with that stated, an awesome example of this is the El Pulpo by Artesano del Tabaco. And this is a blend that comes out of AJ Fernandez's factory. This is a blend that took a long time to come to fruition. The guys responsible for this cigar is also the guys responsible for Viva La Vida. And they take their time, and for good reason. In fact, El Pulpo has gained not only recognition amongst the social media groups, amongst cigar smokers, even Cigar Aficionado gave it a high rating, I believe 94 or 94 plus. But this cigar really speaks to the volumes of care, time, and aged tobacco. And for me personally, this is why El Pulpo is edging towards that cigar of the year for me. Now, I'm not going to say it is my number one pick. There are a lot of other ones. But I'm definitely going to say this is going to be somewhere on the list. San Andreas Maduro, smooth, chocolatey, really good like spice notes, but so much like balance. And I've used that word before, but when you want strength and fuller body, medium strength, and like full flavored, but it's not going to overwhelm the palate. At no point do you light up a pulpo and say, this is overwhelming, I can't handle this, or it's so harsh it's hitting the back of my throat. Especially in the box press format of this Bellicosa Grande, it is a fantastic cigar, and it is one that I cannot recommend high enough. So in your exploration of trying new things, trying the boutique world of cigars, trying out different blends, I'm going to tell you now, El Pulpo is definitely one that deserves to be tried, and it's one of those rising from the ashes from some new companies that may not really hit the mark, or if you're looking for something that has that high quality at a very, very good price point, I would definitely say El Pulpo is doing it right. So thumbs up to the guys over there at Artesano del Tabaco. Thumbs up to AJ Fernandez for releasing such a rich tasting, phenomenal blend. But it's also refreshing in the midst of seeing some of these smaller company and boutiques kind of rise up. It's also like seeing history in the action. And there's no doubt in my mind that El Pulpo will also be on the list of many other people this year for Cigar of the Year contender. Once again, that is El Pulpo in the Belicoso Grande, San Andreas Maduro, Nicaraguan binder and filler. Excellent cigar. And it's also excellent to see such high quality tobaccos continuing, even when sometimes there's some that may not be following that trend. Drop it down in the comments. What is your opinions on the current trends of cigars? Is quality up to snuff? Is it where it needs to be? Or is that kind of a term that gets thrown around? Or is it kind of a delicate balance? As always, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time here on the Oakland Tobacconist.